Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott, and that is Lauren.
Hello.
Hi, Lauren. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. Instagram, you'll find us there. Just search Wilder Show Pod and like and all that. If you want to send us email to podcast@wildershow.com. Wilder Show Podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, also on the TikTok now and again. Hey, wherever you get your podcasts, would you even, like right now, would you like, rate, follow, subscribe, share, comment, give a little thumbs up, even right now? I know you did it before. Appreciate that. But yeah, do it right now as we start our time together. Well, we have to talk about the Nancy Guthrie thing.
Okay.
It's a real weird thing. I know a girl named Nancy Guthrie.
We both do.
Yeah, we both do.
Yeah.
And I've known her since my college days. Mm-hmm. And some of the things that have been put on social media about, it's a then and now, this deals where they walk through someone's life, and Vanderbeek, I'm sure they're going to do a Vanderbeek thing where shows him when he's a kid, and then he walks up and, goes through different sets, and they have put her face on the actual mother of Savannah Guthrie, and the Nancy Guthrie we know was not born in 46.
They asked for pictures of Nancy Guthrie
and
that Nancy Guthrie, because the pictures that have the Nancy Guthrie that we know in them also have that Nancy Guthrie's husband and children in those pictures. So not only does it's not Nancy Guthrie through the years, it's several different Nancy Guthries.
Anyway, I mean, here we are on day, whatever it is, 13 or 14. Now 13 today, day 13.
Which is just astounding in and of itself.
Yeah. Now, you and I, we were cyber sleuths before there was a cyber.
But that's true.
Our sleuthing days go way back. I still remember the Walker, Texas Rayleigh. Walker Rayleigh, the Walker Rayleigh case. And we were chastised by someone that thought we were a little too obsessed with the news story, trying to figure it out. Hey, Peg, calling you on my new mobile.
Yeah.
So we've always had some interest in problem solving.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the abduction, and of course, we don't want it to be too academic. Don't want to lose the point that this is a human tragedy. It's real people, and no matter how it resolves, and of course, our hope is always that she is alive and will be returned to her family and rescued from her abductor. I did see that they've changed a little bit the way they talk about it now. They say she was presumed abducted. It's like, wait a minute, hold on a second. That's weird.
As though there was a chance she had left of her own accord.
I don't know. Anyway, let's dive into what we know.
Okay.
First, what is new? Authorities requested residents near the home of Nancy Guthrie to check their security cameras for activity on January 31st between 9:30 in the morning and 11 in the morning.
Okay.
That's the day of late that night that she was abducted, right?
Okay.
It was 31st into the 1st of February. That's Sunday morning. But they have added another day, and they have said, hey, also check your security cameras for activity on January the 11th.
Wow.
From 9 p.m. to midnight.
So several weeks before.
Like 3 weeks before.
And for one particular block of time.
That's right. Now, why would they do that? We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Hold on to that. Also new, a white forensics tent has been erected outside her home. And no indication of, what they're looking for, but usually those tents are erected in case they're trying to conceal something they've found.
Yeah.
Right? Either a weapon or, sadly, a body, or if they're digging or things like that. Pieces of evidence. Okay. So let's run through some of the questions and observations. The video of the man on the porch, right? Let's look at the elements. Jacket, mask, ridiculous gloves we'll talk about. He was carrying a handgun in a holster, a lot of planning to keep his identity from being known, but also appears to have a cell phone with him. Big mistake. We'll talk about all these things. The backpack, it's full. It's not empty. If you're going to be a burglar, you would not bring a full backpack You bring an empty backpack to then put your stuff in it as you flee.
Mm-hmm.
So what was in the backpack, we don't know. Did you see that they have identified that backpack is a specific backpack that is only sold at Walmart?
No.
So this is the way you piece these things together. We'll talk a little bit about that. The gun was carried in a way that no law enforcement trained or military trained person would carry it. Never. It's in the front of his pants. It's in a holster. But the holster was made for a revolver, not even made for the type of gun. There's no way he could have walked around with that there without it jostling, maybe even falling out, which you don't want, if you're there to abduct someone.
And how was he not, this might be something you're going to cover soon, how was he not aware that all of this was being captured on camera?
Let's get to that in a second. The only thing that could change about the gun is if it wasn't a real gun. In other words, if it was really just worn out front, so it was visible to scare someone, to say, I mean business, so it was a play gun or a toy gun. But there's no way you would carry a gun that way if it was a real gun, which brings us to the gloves. You know what neoprene gloves are? Neoprene gloves they're heavier. Yeah. They're like chemically resistant.
Okay.
If you're watching something, a movie where somebody's working in a lab, they would be wearing these neoprene gloves. They almost look like mittens. I mean, they're kind of thick. They look like maybe there's a glove on underneath the glove. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That is not a glove that makes it easy for you to use a gun if you had to. You couldn't probably even operate the gun if you were using those gloves. So the gloves don't make sense. Okay, he sees the camera, right? You've seen this. He sees the camera. He moves his hand in front of the camera to block it from seeing his face. Then he turns around and goes out under the archway at the porch, and he picks some flowers and holds the flowers sort of in front of the camera. By the way, with his left hand. Don't know if that matters, but he was holding with his left hand. Isn't it weird to be so prepared? I mean, you get the gloves, you get the backpack, you get the mask, but you didn't bring a strip of tape on your thigh to just place over the camera. Isn't that weird? We're going to come back to that too. So as he goes back away from the camera, that gives investigators several things. You see his shoes. You see his height, right? Yeah. You can determine his height, how tall he is relative to the archway.
Sure.
Or where he stands with the measuring against the bricks. Very easy to determine how tall he is. You see his shoes with the tiles on the porch. Knowing the size of the tiles on the porch, you can determine the size of his shoes. He bends over to pick the flowers. Doesn't appear to be able to easily bend one of his legs. One of his legs appears not to be as flexible. I don't know. Problem with the knee, knee replacement, knee surgery, whatever. You can also see his gait, the way he walks.
Yeah.
This is distinct to all of us, each of us. And the FBI uses this stuff all the time, the way someone walks. So, about the phone. FBI can go back in time and see what phones were there in that area, triangulate, see what was happening, then look forward and backward and sort of find out where that phone was. So they have teams working on all these things. They have the shoe group and the backpack group and the face mask group and the jacket group. And
let me ask you a question about you talked about the asking for footage from cameras for that particular, January 11th?
January 11th.
I think for like 3 hours
9 to
in
midnight.
the evening.
Yeah.
I thought that earlier, and I guess you could still ask for whatever people would get. I thought that when this first happened, they talked about how that kind of footage wasn't really useful because it's kind of a rural area and the houses are so far spread apart. If you've got houses close together, then your cameras would catch neighbors or people walking down the street if they were on their way someplace else, but not so much necessarily in a neighborhood like that. I wonder if there's a reason that they're calling for that now when before they said it wouldn't be necessarily very useful?
We're getting to that.
Okay.
So all this is very interesting. It takes us in a certain direction or directions, or does it? There was something missing from the videos that they released. If I were to ask you, what were those videos of? The video was of what? It was just generally. Video that we saw was of a man what?
A man on the porch, maybe getting ready to break in or make entry somehow.
Okay. We were told that the camera by the front door had been removed, right?
Right.
That was one of the first things that was reported, but the camera had been removed.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no video of that camera being ripped off the wall.
Right.
The video is clearly of her house, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It's dark out, maybe the middle of the night. Everyone assumes they know the answer to this, but it's at least worth asking, when was the video from?
Yeah.
There's no time stamp on it. There's no date stamp on it. When was it captured? How do we know it was from that night?
Well, okay, somebody knows though, right? I mean, law enforcement or somebody, isn't it true that we just don't know yet?
This is what I'm saying. How do we know it's from that night? And now they're asking for something from January the 11th?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it interesting that the camera was removed from the doorway? Wouldn't that be one of the things they would show us?
Mm-hmm.
How do we know this wasn't the guy casing the place?
Mm.
How do we know this wasn't on January the 11th?
Mm-hmm.
And they're asking other people, hey, check your stuff from January the 11th between 9 and midnight. Everybody is assuming these are videos taken of the night that she was abducted.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know that? We don't know that. Everybody is assuming the same thing. But what if it was when he was casing the place? What if it was from some time previous? We talked about all the planning the guy did. The jacket, the backpack, the mask, the gloves, the gun. But the camera seemed to surprise him. That time. That's what makes me think that's not from the time.
The night that it happened.
No. That's a trial run. I think we're going to find that that was actually from January the 11th.
Wow.
And that's why they're asking, hey, this guy maybe was casing other places. Find out if we can get maybe a better look at him at your place than we had at this place. Because it seems to me, if we're told the camera was taken off the wall, that is the one thing they should be showing us. But here is where he took the camera. The reason they're not showing us they took the camera is because those things that the FBI, along with Google, has found, because Google owns Nest. Nest is a Google product. The reason they haven't shown that to us is because they don't have that. This that they have may not have even been from the time that everyone assumes it was from. I don't believe it was from the night that she was abducted. I think it was a trial run. I think it was a casing mission. What if that's why we don't see him removing the camera?
You came up with that on your own?
I did. Haven't heard anybody else talk about it.
Wow.
One of the things we were told early on had me concerned is that Nancy Guthrie had cameras there. In this case, it was her Nest cameras, a Google product, but that she didn't have a subscription, so there was no saved photo or video on the cloud, right?
Right.
Then they were able to find it.
Isn't it like there was just it saves brief images, but not actually footage?
This is the thing. Look, that's good news, right? If it helps save her life,
of course,
or solve a crime, it's good. But I'm confused by it. We were told that Google was able to find it in the remnants, video that was captured and had been set to be deleted, but had not yet been deleted, so they found it. They found what we were told didn't exist. I believe that is true, but here's what that means. Someone that has a system but does not save or capture those stills or videos so they don't exist, right? Wrong. And this whole thing of, well, they were set to delete, but they don't delete all the time. Listen, there's never-ending space in the cloud to save this stuff. I think what this is saying is, if you have an Nest camera, anybody walking up, it's captured. Anybody walking up. You walking out of your house, captured.
Yeah.
Kids playing outside, captured. Any activity, captured.
Whether you have
a
subscription
that's right.
that saves it or not.
That's right. All it means is your subscription. I think most people believe your subscription means that it is saved. But the subscription, at least in this case, what it appears to mean is your subscription means you have access to it.
Saved for you.
you can see what it did.
Mm-hmm.
But just because you can't see what it did doesn't mean, in this case, we're just talking about Nest, don't know anybody else, don't know about Blink, don't know about Ring.
Sure.
But in this case, just because you don't have a subscription so you can see it, you shouldn't assume then that it isn't captured. It apparently is, or we wouldn't have that. And man, the quality is fantastic.
It's kind of like phone messages
that
get deleted.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow they're able to find them.
So what this means as a privacy issue is that even if you don't want to save the videos, I mean, if the individual doesn't want to save them, it doesn't mean that they don't have them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if it means someone is saved, we can feel good about it. But I believe this is a huge privacy issue. What that could mean or would mean or could mean is that no matter what your plan is, no matter what you can see or can't see, they can see, even in the future, anything that is captured on your cameras. And that's just going to be, a point of discussion after this all resolves.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've said now, this is our third podcast episode where we've said this will probably resolve before you even listen to this.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I don't know. I'm starting to believe every one of these requests for ransom were all scammers.
That's kind of what I've thought.
And I don't want to say, it's certainly possible that she's no longer alive.
It's tragic.
And all this is just a game on the other side.
Where did the thing come from? The last thing I saw was that a note said, she is alive, but she's scared. Was that something that was given to TMZ?
Well, the very last thing that I heard about was something else given to TMZ, which was, I know who the abductor is, and I will tell for 1 Bitcoin. And 1 Bitcoin was valued on that day at, I think, $67,000.
Yeah.
But there's a $50,000 reward for any information. Of course, you got to wait, you got to qualify and all that kind of stuff. But this person was saying, so I think that's a scam. And I think, who knows?
I'm glad that there are people smarter than I am who are in charge of figuring all of that out, because I'm sure that they're giving every potential clue, every scintilla of anything that might seem meaningless to us. They're giving it all of the attention that it needs. But to me, it just seems like just people glomming on, looking for a little bit of attention. It's terrible.
So we'll continue to watch it, but that's you can see how Lauren and I might have gotten in trouble before.
We could get a little obsessive about things like this.
I just think it's the elements of solving a puzzle. A crime is really a puzzle. That's all it really is.
Yeah, don't you think a little bit of it too is to kind of help you deal with you want to try to make sense of something that seems to just make no sense at all.
So it's all just tragic, and we will continue to watch it. A couple of other items before Scattershoot. Pam Bondi is out of control. She should be gone. I can't even watch her anymore. That time there giving her testimony, just out of control. If you haven't seen it, trust me. And if you have seen it, you know that I'm right about this. She was out of control. She was doing that for an audience of one. And the kind of stuff that Trump can do, it doesn't play the same when it comes from somebody else. And sorry for this to sound so gendery, but it doesn't play the same if it comes from a woman. It just doesn't. Her yelling back at people and saying you're a loser and all this kind of stuff, it just doesn't play. I don't think
that sounds great from a man either.
It doesn't. But all I'm saying is Trump has a way of getting away with some of this stuff that people just kind of go, oh, yeah, he's just being Trump. But I think it's just a mistake. I couldn't believe I was watching the Attorney General of the United States of America sitting there, talking with people there on the other side. I think she's a ridiculous person. Her testimony this week, no excuse. And she really, I think, is going to be gone. I don't know whether she's going to quit. See, here's the thing. People go out and they do his bidding. And they do all the things that they're supposed to do to make him happy. But then it becomes a real problem, and he will cut you loose. She will be cut loose. Okay, speaking of the president, I hope this is not the case, but I sure believe we are about to go to war with Iran. That is what I think. No one is happier about that, by the way, than Israel. It's much more than we're going to get into here about talking about this. But, we went in there and we took out the nuclear
enrichment.
Yeah, the nuclear enrichment things. Only we could bomb it. Only our bombs could do it deep in the mountains, and we did it. And now the request is, but they've got lots of missiles. You got to do that. So I'm telling you, man, Benjamin Netanyahu 2 days ago with the president, same kind of thing had happened at Mar-a-Lago before we did it in, I guess, was it June of this last year? Did the same thing. We bombed. I hope it's not the case, but I think it will happen. Probably within about 10 days. Maybe by the Daytona 500 on Sunday. All right, I want to say one more thing about another story. Recently, we talked, Lauren, about don't give over the language, right? Mm-hmm. We were talking about that specifically as it relates to gender and pronouns and they, them. And I thought it's just one person. Oh, it's a they, a single person that goes by they. It just makes my head explode. I say, don't buy into it. Just don't do it. Don't buy into it. We've also talked about how people don't read the whole story anymore. We used to read whole stories.
Isn't that the whole reason that USA Today was invented?
It was, yeah. They said, well, just give them little bite-sized pieces. Yeah. And everybody thought, nobody's going to do that.
They're not reading the whole thing. Nobody's turning to page 11G and just finishing the story.
Include it all right here.
Yeah, give them a condensed version.
And then we went from reading whole stories that were long to whole stories that were short and abridged. Then we went from reading whole stories that were short to reading just a few paragraphs. And then we went from reading a few paragraphs to just reading headlines. And CNN is here to help. If you just read headlines, you may think you know, or maybe the beginning of the article. CNN is here to help, but you really would have to read more than the first 4 paragraphs to know what the deal is. And I'm talking about the shooter in British Columbia.
Yeah.
Here is the link. It says, here's what we know about the alleged shooter in British Columbia. Ready? I'm going to read this word for word. You tell me when we've gotten to the stuff that tells you something. Police identified the alleged shooter in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia as Jesse Van Rootselaar, an 18-year-old female resident of the town who had, quote, dropped out of school approximately 4 years ago. Dropped out when she was 14 years old, okay? Was not currently attending school, according to the Deputy Commissioner Dwayne McDonald, talking to reporters on Wednesday. Authorities found her dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound in the school. Okay, so that's the first paragraph. McDonald, that is the Deputy Commissioner, McDonald said that police had visited Van Rootselaar's residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our subject. Later, McDonald said that the most recent occasion for a police visit was the spring of last year over concerns regarding mental health and self-harm. We're coming up on the 4th paragraph. I can say that on a different occasion, the suspect was apprehended for assessment and follow-up, McDonald said. Firearms were seized from the home and later returned after the owner petitioned for them. Here's the 5th paragraph. Asked whether, so it was not offered until it was asked.
Okay. Asked
whether Van Rootselaar was transgender, McDonald said that police were identifying her as they, meaning she, chose to be identified in public and in social media. He says, I can say that Jesse was born a biological male who approximately 6 years ago, so at the age of 12 or 11, began to transition to female and identified as female, both socially and publicly. All right.
And do we know...
That is maddening.
It's kind of like, Netflix now knows they have to get your attention really fast if you're going to keep watching.
Right.
Make something blow up in the first 3 minutes.
Right.
And then, keep re-explaining. And the news knows if there's something we don't particularly want to highlight, just, bury it in the 3rd, 4th, 5th paragraph, and they're not even going to get that far. Do we know when they mention transition? Do we know if it was it medical transition? Was it
I
just...
I stopped reading as soon as I got to that part.
Okay, go ahead.
What I do know, I think there was a chemical portion to
That's
it
what
because
I mean. Yeah.
because the medication, because it has brought up the whole question of are these hormones,
Mm-hmm.
are these drugs, the transition drugs, are they making people more violent?
Yeah.
And people go, you're just, and it's almost like, you can't even bring that up because if you do, you're a phobe, right? You're a hater. You're a phobe. So no. She had other mental, we know. This person, this guy, was mentally disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that. If we knew nothing else, we know it because at the age of 11, by the way, he killed his mom and his stepbrother, injured 25 people.
At the time of the shooting, I think the number was 8.
That's right.
And since then, there are others injured, and one that I've heard of that is not doing well.
So 25 injured. 3 girls were killed. 2 boys were killed. A teacher was killed. His mother was killed. His stepbrother was killed, and then he shot himself. There's a great piece. I'm not going to read it to you, but there's a great op-ed piece in the New York Post yesterday about this and about we have to stop gaslighting people who want to talk about the real reasons for these things happening. No, it is not true that every person who is transgender is going to be a mass murderer. But there has been a cluster of these, and it's worthy of attention. If you can't fix something, if you don't identify it as a problem, but everyone is shamed into, don't say that. Let's just talk about other things. Let's talk about gun control, or let's talk about, just mentally ill people generally, but don't attach it to it. Don't suggest that someone who is trans, that is evidence of a mental illness, which I believe it is, but you can't say that. So if you look it up if you want to, it's in the New York Post a couple of days ago. It's about this issue, the shooting. But I bring that up for a couple of things. You have to read more than headlines. You have to read more than just a couple of paragraphs. That's number one. Number two, don't give in on the language. If you give in on the language, the best scenario is it's confusing. You read the first 4 paragraphs of that story and you think a girl, that's quite rare. An 18-year-old girl was a mass shooter. You hardly ever hear of girls that are mass shooters. Really? Oh, wasn't a girl. It's a biological male. And the girl that was the one who was transitioning from female to male, she's a person born female in Nashville, but she's taking testosterone, right? Our bodies are made the way that they are made. It is a sign of distress when people refuse to accept how they have been made. I'm not saying it's simple. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just telling you, we have to identify that as a problem because it is a problem. And we cannot be gaslit away from saying what we know to be true. Oh, it is time for Scattershoot.
Let's go.
Wilder Show Scattershoot. All right. Little AI update. Lauren, I know we pay attention to AI.
We do.
The music you're hearing right now, courtesy of AI. You're welcome. I like our music.
I do too.
How fast is AI moving?
Super fast.
Opinion piece writer writes, let me make the pace of improvement concrete because I think this is the part that's hardest to believe if you're not watching it closely.
We're calling it improvement for sure.
Well, listen,
that's the opinion of the author?
In 2022, AI couldn't do basic arithmetic reliably.
Okay.
It would confidently tell you that 7 times 8 is
56.
54. It would tell you.
Really?
54. That's 2022.
Okay.
By 2023, AI could pass the bar exam.
Yikes.
By 2024, it could write working software and explain graduate level science. By 2025, some of the best engineers in the world said they had handed over most of their coding work to AI. And on February 5th, 2026, New models arrived that made everything before them feel like a different era. If you haven't tried AI in the last few months, the writer writes, what exists today would be unrecognizable to you. Anyway, goes on to talk about all the things that AI, the advancements, and now you have actually AI building other AI. So AI is on our radar. It's on your radar.
It's on everybody's radar.
You're on its radar, whether it's on yours or not.
Whether you like it or not, yeah.
Jobs have changed. Everything's changed. There's an organization called Metter, and what it measures is it tracks the length of real-world tasks that a model can complete without human help. Okay. So how long can an AI being go without human intervention to correct it or to point it in the right direction? A year ago, it could only go about 10 minutes without human intervention.
Okay.
Then it was an hour. Then it was several hours. The most recent measurement from November of last year showed that AI, without human involvement, able to complete tasks a human expert could do for nearly 5 hours with no human assisting. And that number is doubling about every 7 months.
Man.
So pretty soon,
the humans aren't necessary at all.
You start it and it just goes. Well, my mom and everyone else, or many other people, think it's the devil anyway.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with her. I just heard somebody talking about this yesterday. It was actually in the context of AI on college campuses. And the problem with college students sort of morphing into this belief that really their job while they're there is to learn how to use the AI rather than doing the work. Like if I'm good at telling the AI what I need it to do, then I don't really have to write the papers anymore. It was specifically about writing papers, because they also talked about how the writing process teaches us and what we get out of the writing process.
So they're saying I got to be a better prompter. If I come up with the right prompts, then all that really matters is the end result's going to be good.
That the paper will be good, and it doesn't matter whether or not I learned whatever I needed to learn in the actual writing of the paper. Somebody was talking about how having written eulogies in the past. Well, it's a sad and it's a painstaking effort, but it really, part of it is the help that you get working through the grieving process.
No, it's not just about sharing the facts of the person's life.
It's not just work. It's really meaningful work.
Interesting.
Meaning that you would not derive if you just plugged a few things. Yeah, to anybody. And then the whole thing was, that's the whole, years and years and years ago, 40 years ago when I was in college, being told by a professor, I remember this to this day, where I'm not here to teach you a skill. I'm not here to teach you a trade. I'm here to teach you to learn how to learn.
Learning to learn.
And that's exactly what this person said. In the writing of the paper, you might think you've got an idea down just perfectly, and then you put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, and you realize I'm not able to express this as well as I thought I would be. Maybe I don't know as much about it as I thought I did. There's meaning in that. There's education to be taken from that process that we're missing out on completely if we're just learning how to tell the AI to write what we need it to write.
It's the same. There was a day when you weren't allowed to have calculators.
Yeah.
You have to learn there's something about the things that you learn. Show your work. I've talked before about directions, that I was always important to me for my kids to have a sense of north, east, south, west, to know the main arteries. They may not know exactly how to get everywhere the way we do today with GPS, but they know generally if the road is blocked, I can go up and over and do that. I'm still in the same direction. I'm now back on track.
Yeah. And now that we're talking about it, I'm thinking about all these. I'm always so aware of the things that we talk about, or I won't even say we. I'll take it all on myself. I'm conscious of the things that I might say that a younger person might really just dismiss,
like blow off
because of my age, and that I'm thinking, well, it just has to be better doing it the way we did it, the way I learned how to do it. But when you're talking about all of these things, that's true about GPS, and we completely embraced that. Yep. Phone numbers, we don't even have to remember phone numbers anymore. But bigger than that, we don't really have to remember anything anymore, because whatever you've forgotten can be searched out immediately.
Yeah, and I think there's something in your brain. We've told the story before that there was dyslexia.
Yeah.
There is something in your brain that is developed as a toddler when you crawl. Yeah. Crawling before you walk is important. You say, well, my kids started walking immediately. Well, check back when they're in third grade, and let's talk about that. Because there is something in the brain that is different when you crawl. There's something developed in your brain. We've heard before that stutterers, that there is something about stuttering that early on, if a person was, let's say they were left-handed, but they were made to write with the right hand, they're basically shamed into, no, you're right-handed.
That there's something wrong with being left-handed, so we're not going to let you do it. We're going to make you write with your
something
right hand.
In the brain impacts towards stuttering. So in the same way, the GPS is not just the way we used to do it. It's nice that you can put the GPS in and just do what it tells you to do. Turn here, turn here, turn here. Rerouting, whatever it is.
I guess what I mean, though, is this just another step towards us being obsolete?
Yeah, we're dumber. It's nice to be able to access the stuff. It's nice to be able to not know anything, and then you quickly can find it out on your phone and all that. But we're talking about you as a person, developing your brain, developing the way you think. It's not just about the quality of the obituary. It's about the process of writing the obituary. It's not just about having a paper that is perfectly punctuated. It's about the process of creating that paper. Right. It's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about understanding how you got from point A to point B. And knowing that in your brain, it's like kids don't know what a remote control is, right? A remote control used to be the oldest kid. Go turn that at Channel 8.
Or whoever was walking
that's
through
right.
the room.
Hey, buddy, turn that over. They don't know what a remote control is. In the same way, the process of getting from this to this, there is something that does in us. It develops something in us. And so, it's not that you can never use Waze or the different things, the maps programs. Sure. Everybody, I use them. It's great. It's a good idea. Helps you know when you're supposed to arrive, if there's a trouble on the road, obstruction or whatnot, construction.
That's true. There are plenty of benefits to that don't mean you don't remember where you're going anymore.
Let me give a radio inside radio example. With digital editing now, people who do radio, these kids today, but these people today, really in the last 10, 15 years, the editing means nothing anymore. They have no idea about a wax pencil and a razor blade and degaussing and demagnetizing it and the blips that you can get and putting pieces of tape that is, say, audio tape, strips of those on your thigh in reverse order in case you have to put them back.
It was a whole thing.
It was a whole thing, man. It was a whole thing going on. And so for them, it's all in here. Now, I use digital editing. I don't use that whole stuff on reel-to-reel and all that anymore. Of course, who would do that? But I have an understanding of what this newfound way is doing because I understood it completely before. I know what a remote does because I know I used to be the remote. I think it's important to know how to write an obituary. You wouldn't say, hey, I'm going to give this to somebody else. They can write the obituary for my closest person in my life. No, and I wouldn't give it to AI either. Anyway, AI is getting scarier and scarier.
Smarter and smarter and scarier and scarier. Pop star Britney Spears. Has sold her the rights to her music.
I saw that.
Yeah.
What'd she get for him?
Oh, I'm not sure that the exact amount has been disclosed. Although they are saying that it's in the ballpark of Canadian singer Justin Bieber's reported $200 million agreement to sell his music rights a few years ago. I do wonder about that. When you sell your music rights, now Britney Spears hasn't made new music since 2016. She hasn't released an album since 2016. But Justin Bieber is like still in the middle of his career. He's still releasing new things. Yeah. So if he sold them in 2023, I wonder if that was everything that he had made up till that time. Probably. And then he retains the rights to the rest of it until he decides to sell that.
Batch 2.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, she's, I don't know.
It was, her 9th and last studio album came out in 2016.
Is it Toxic?
No, Toxic was a while before that. This was an album called Glory. I'm not familiar with it, but of course, and another thing that I didn't really, I didn't realize, why would somebody do that? Obviously, these deals can be really, really lucrative for artists. They get the payout, and then they're also relieved of the responsibility of overseeing their entire catalog of music and making sure that they're being paid the way they should be paid for all the different ways that an artist gets paid. Rights to music to be used in certain ways, or we remember when we worked in radio, you'd have to once a year you'd have to fill out BMI and ASCAP logs to give samples of the music that you'd played over the course of the year, so that the artists could get paid for the music that you'd played over the year.
Isn't it weird that now that's all done electronically? I mean, it's all digitally done. I mean, it's all decided. AI knows that. Speaking of AI can track all that stuff.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but one thing we've learned from Taylor Kels is we've learned that you lose control, right?
Yeah.
That's how you end up having a Phil Collins song on a
Buick commercial.
Yeah, or on the thing we talked about in the Super Bowl, which was
it was Liquid IV.
Liquid IV, but it was an offensive. Check out the toilet and make sure that it's the right color.
Yeah,
it's like, really, that's when you sell the rights. I mean, they can then sell it to whoever for whatever commercial purposes.
It can be in any movie they decide to let it be used in. Yeah,
license it for.
Absolutely, absolutely. When the halftime show for the Super Bowl first started, when they do that little shot of the field, we all know that part of if you were there for the Super Bowl live, which I didn't realize that my son-in-law had actually been to the Super Bowl. He's been to the Super Bowl. He went a few years ago when he was living in Arizona. So we talked about that a little bit. But he said one of the coolest things was watching them get ready for the halftime show.
Yeah, I guess so.
That it took, all the work that they were able to get done in just a matter of minutes.
Right.
So when you're watching it on television, when they go to commercial, right before they're going to come back for the Super Bowl or, for the halftime show, you see that work getting started. And my daughter and I were watching, and we saw like what looked like a big, grass, like a piece of grass or a plant or something like that. And we noticed it move. And one of us said there were people inside what I think was sugarcane and also dancing grass. So Austin Clapman, San Francisco, got a text from his mom a while back, and it was a link. And I mean, he's a 26-year-old guy. Yeah. So he gets a text from his mom and it says, you should do this. And there's a link. So, of course, like every good 26-year-old young man, he did exactly what his mom told him to do. And it was an application to be a part of the Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh, to be one of the plants?
Well, he didn't know what it was at first.
Funny.
He filled out the application. You had to be a certain height. He didn't know what the range was, but he was 5 feet 9 inches, so he figures it was somewhere in there. They asked if he had any dancing experience. He had actually he was a former tennis player at Monmouth University. And he had taken one elective dance class, so apparently that was enough. And he got the gig to be one of these dancing trees in the Super Bowl halftime show.
There were a bunch of them.
So there were a lot of them. I mean, there were like 500 of them, I think. They put on 40-pound sugarcane costumes and then became the set.
Okay.
So they were paid $18.70 per hour. did about 70 hours of work, including
70?
8 days of rehearsals. Wow. This Austin Klapman said he had to take time off from his job to do it. So it was including the rehearsals and game day. Each sugarcane bush earned about $1,309, although many of them said they would have done it for free just because it was such an incredible experience to do it. But then, so this Austin Klapman, he is a runner. He's a long distance runner and training for the New York Marathon right now. And you know what Strava is? Strava, it's you can record your,
it's a workout thing, right?
It is a workout thing. You can record your bike rides, your walks, your hikes, your runs, and it will hold on to the routes that you took, your time if you're running, all the things that you'd want to hold on
to.
Like
a log.
And you can, and you can share it, with other people and let them know how you did. So Austin Klapman decided that he would record that time, just the time that he was in the costume, getting onto the field, and the time that he was on the field for the Super Bowl halftime show, and it wasn't. I mean, it was like an hour or so, and it was maybe a little bit more than 1,000 steps. He didn't burn a ton of calories or anything like that, but he posted it, and then Strava got that, and of course from there it went. I hate news stories where it talks about anything going viral, but that is exactly how this got started. People saw, he had a picture of himself with his face peeking out of the sugarcane plant, and that's how we found out about all of this. So I think the lesson learned here is when you get a text from your mom and she says, I think you should do this, you probably should do it.
And think of this. He made, what, $1,300, something like that?
$1,700. No, $1,300.
$1,300?
Right. Yeah.
Which, by the way, he made $1,300 and all the other sugarcane people made $1,300 each. Bad Bunny made nothing.
I thought about that.
Think about that.
That's
the
pretty
actual
wild.
Performer made nothing. Anyway. That's interesting.
Can you imagine, you're running out of the tunnel to actually be on the field in a sugarcane costume?
That's cool. Speaking of sports, the Olympics, we've had a long, we won't do it much here, but what is and is not a sport. Yeah. I don't believe all the things in the Olympics are sports. I know. And I don't believe they are. They're athletic competitions, but I don't like, look, our duo, the married duo, the dancing on the ice duo, the skaters, Bach and Evans, or whatever their names are, they were fantastic.
Yeah.
And many people believe they were ripped off. They got the silver medal, not the gold. The gold went to the French pair. And this is what I don't like about the subjective nature of these things.
Yeah.
No one is deciding who is the winner of speed skating. No one is deciding that.
Only the clock.
The clock decides it. The judges will tell you who won, but that is the person that actually won. These things that involve holding up the numbers and I'll give her a 10 and she got a 9 and he put his hand down. I know,
they don't
but
really
he was
hold
doing a
up
harder
numbers
thing
anymore. Now
I know, but that same kind of thing. And then you have all kinds of the subjectivity of it opens itself up to abuse, and that's what people thought. Why we 3-time, I think, world champions in their finale.
Madison Chalk and Evan Bates.
Yeah, Bates, Chalk and Bates. They're married.
Yep.
Yeah, they'd been skating partners for a long time. And the moms, you probably saw the moms interviewed, but the moms are always there, wearing their red, white, and blue sweaters or whatever, and watching the kids ice dance. And one of the moms said, there was one time after they had won, and he leaned in and just said, "I love you," and but they were just skating partners, and fell in love, and they're married. So she was even asked. She said, look, we're married, we have a life, and we'll go on. We're disappointed a little bit that we didn't get the gold, but but it was kind of interesting. But this whole subjective thing, I don't like that so much. I do watch a little bit of it because I'm a guy and it's sports, and we still got a week left.
Wait, what did you say?
I'm a guy and it's sports.
It is sports.
Some of them are sports.
It is sports.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, it's a sporting activity, but the subjective nature, it just leaves it wide open.
How else would you do it, though? I mean, they already have things that are like, there are point values assigned to the things that they do.
Yeah, the flips and the twists and all that stuff.
And you get the points or you don't get the points, or you get some of the points, not all of the points.
But read the controversy.
Oh, I know that it's not perfect.
And so it's like this one judge is giving our people far lower than anybody else. I mean, by like 5 points. I like the stuff where it looks downhill skiing. Man, that is the person that they beat the time. That's it. Runners in races, speed skating, the luge, the bobsled, all those things. Now, snowboard, that's subjective. But it's still kind of fun to watch. So anyway, enjoy the Olympics. If you're watching the Olympics, enjoy the Olympics. But I think we were ripped off a little bit in the men and women's. I guess you can say the couples,
ice dancing, pairs,
pairs,
ice dancing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your favorite? You got a favorite Simpsons episode?
Scene? No, I haven't really watched much Simpsons over the years. I never really. I mean, I'm not against it. I just never.
I haven't really either.
I watched King of the Hill. A lot of great King of the Hill stuff.
Yeah. Didn't you watch The Simpsons when it was young though?
Maybe. It was. I know it was one of the first things on Fox. It was real offensive early on. And
it started. You remember how it started, right?
It was part of the Tracy Ullman show.
It was. There was like a Fox. They called it the Fox Rollout.
That's right.
I remember it being called the Fox Rollout because at that time, my job at the radio station was listening to the commercials that were going to air on the radio for this brand new thing that was happening on
funny.
Fox. And it was these comedies that were going to be on I don't remember, was it Sunday night?
It was Sunday night, yeah.
There was the Tracy Ullman show, and inside the Tracy Ullman variety show were these little bits of Simpsons cartoons. And the Tracy Ullman show did not last very long, unfortunately. I think it was she's very talented. It was very funny. But they thought, we got something there with the Simpsons. That was nearly 40 years ago. And on Sunday, the 800th episode of The Simpsons will
800th.
Yeah. I've seen, I don't even know how many scenes how many episodes I've seen from start to finish. 800. I was never really a serial watcher of it either, but I do remember walking into a restaurant with my family on a Sunday evening, and the televisions were on in the corners of the room, and none of the sound was on, but there was a little closed captioning. You didn't even need it for this particular thing because it was The Simpsons, and they showed you the outside of a building to let you know where the next scene was taking place. It was the Screaming Monkey Medical Testing Facility.
Oh, funny. That's funny.
I laughed. I had tears rolling down my face. I think it just caught me so off guard because it was so ridiculous and so silly. Nobody at the table agreed with my. Nobody else thought it was as funny as I did, but I remember that.
Funny.
It was years ago.
So Sunday, 800 episodes. I think NASCAR. I think the Daytona 500. Is on Fox, as I recall. Okay, so it'll be the same channel. I get promos for. I'm excited about. A lot of people don't like NASCAR. I love NASCAR, so especially in the Super Bowl of NASCAR is Daytona 500. Okay, and so we start the season, and I like restrictor plate. I like the super speedways.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I know it's okay. It's you can
good. Tell me if you want. I don't know if I'll remember next time you talk about it.
It's rules for the car. On certain kinds of tracks that will basically cap out the speed. They all basically have the same speed on restrictor plate. It restricts intake and air intake and all this kind of stuff. It restricts, so they'll be all at the capping at about 192 miles an hour, maybe, something like that. Okay. And on Daytona 500, it's a super speedway, so they almost never lift. You never lift your foot. It'll slow down as it goes into the corners, of course, but
that's what they mean when they say don't lift?
Never lift.
Never lift your foot off the gas pedal.
Never lift.
Okay.
All the way down. Pedal to metal, never lift. So I'll be watching. I always enjoy watching NASCAR. And the season begins on Sunday.
Well, if you watch The Simpsons, 800th episode, longest running scripted television show in television history.
Is that right? And that is Scattershoot. That is the Wilder Show podcast. Instagram, you'll find us there, Wilder Show Pod. Search for that. Send us email, podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube. Also on the TikTok now. Again, please do, wherever you get to podcast, like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. That really does make a difference when you do that. And so thanks for doing that. And thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Scott.
And we'll see you next time.
Do